All right. I'd like to start off by saying Barakatah Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakha Kodash. Welcome to another live lesson.
Let's start.
The name of this one is Lockdowns and Uproars of the People. I was just searching for a topic to do a quick lesson on. And some of these articles popped up at me. And the thought came to mind on these different lockdowns that are going on. And it seems like they're starting to, even though they're opening back up, they're starting to push more towards locking everything back down. And if that's the case, where they actually lock everything back down, you have people already out there that are in a desperate state of mind after a year of this nonsense going on. They're pretty much in a desperate state of mind. And you're going to have those that are not going to have it. That's where your revolts are going to come from. This is where uprisings are going to come from. Seditions are going to come from, just based off of this total dominance and control of the entire planet, the entire globe. I just read the title of this article. I didn't really go into the article itself. I put it in the description box in case brothers want to go through it. I mean, if anything jumps out at me, I'll read a little bit of it. But the main thing I wanted to get out of here is the Great Reset is here. Follow the money. Insane lockdown of the global economy, the green agenda. So pretty much this is what they're doing. The lockdowns are pretty much for total control. And they call it the insane lockdowns because you know what the deal is. Those brothers that have their eyes open and can see, and the few sisters that have their eyes open and can see what's going on, it's a worldwide agenda. Remember, all you have to do is go back to the dollar bill. On the back of the dollar bill, it gives you their agenda in the Latin, Novus Ordo Seclorum, which is a new order of the world, a new order of the age. Above it is Annuit Coeptes, which is announcing the birth or our enterprise has been crowned with success. And this is why they're able to put it on the dollar bills, because they have an agenda. Now, I looked up the word lockdown, right? It says a lockdown is a restriction policy for people or community to stay where they are, usually due to specific risks to themselves or to others. If they can move and interact freely, the term stay at home or shelter in place is often used for lockdown that affect an area rather than specific locations. And this lockdown is pretty much planet lockdown. Should have called the lesson planet lockdown. It says the term is used for a prison protocol that usually prevents people, information, or objects from leaving an area. So just based off of that means that when you go to the what are those things called that the president issues? It's escaping my mind right now. It's executive orders. There you go. When you go to these executive orders, there are many different executive orders that when they declare a national emergency, they can take over all forms of transportation, all forms of communication. They could take over homes. They could take over the people and put them into work brigades, and this is what they're doing. They're kind of pushing towards that agenda. This is why we read that pretty much here on this on Wikipedia for lockdown, it says the term is used for a prison protocol. Why? Because it's pretty much a prison that doesn't have any bars, which is the pretty much the whole globe, and this is what's happening to the world as we see it today. It's going into total lockdown. It says the term is used for a prison protocol that usually prevents people, information, or objects from leaving an area. The protocol can usually only be initiated by someone in a position of authority. This is why President, ex-president Donald Trump had authorized FEMA to take over because of this national emergency. So they're the ones behind the scenes running things. You know, the big medical corporations, you know, they're running things, you know, and they're the ones that are pretty much dictating policy as to what is or what goes down and what is not acceptable, so on and so forth. And needless to say, you know, their agenda is the agenda of the international banking families. It says a lockdown can also be used to protect people inside a facility or, for example, a computing system from a threat or other external event. And you see this in different movies, you know, when they have, you know, movies like Containment and different, I believe Containment was, I'm not sure if that was a movie or a series. Then you had Contagion, then you had, I Am Legend, you know, and many others, you know. What you notice when you look at your Netflix and your Amazon Primes, pretty much what's going on when you go through there, there's a lot of post-apocalypse movies, a lot of so-called zombie movies, you know, a lot of breakdown of society movies, a lot more than at one time. You know, so there's a lot, right? Containment is a Netflix series. The Water Brother, I know I've seen it somewhere. Right, cool. So, and the Elder also put it up. Containment was a series, right, on Netflix. That's right. And I watched the whole thing, you know. So this is what you see going on, you know, with these lockdowns. It says, in buildings, doors leading outside are usually locked so that no person may enter or exit. So since they don't have an actual building, what they're using for the locks, so to speak, or the doors, is the military. This is why you have the National Guard down there in DC, you know, patrolling DC. They, you know, had that so-called Jake, you know, ram his car into one of the posts or whatever that was, and then according to the story that I've heard so far, you know, the Jake pulled out a knife and they shot him or killed him or whatever the case was. You know the wag the dog scenario. And like I believe, I'm not sure if it was that movie, but who writes this stuff, man? The shit is so tacky, man. It's not even a B-rated movie. It says a full lockdown usually means that people must stay where they are and may not enter or exit a building or rooms within it, needing to go to the nearest place that designated safe if not already in such a place. The first lockdown implemented during, you know what, as a preventative measure was in Wuhan in January 2020. And I hope they don't get me for saying this word here, you know. But there's more to it. I put this in the description box. All right, so let's get to the precept. So what's happening? These lockdowns are gonna cause a meltdown, pretty much, to the average person out here, because people are already on edge, you know, and they are not, you know, trying to go through this again. They want to get back to normal. This is why you have a lot of people willing to get stabbed up, you know, so that they can go back to so-called normal. Now, I looked up the term meltdown. Meltdown has several definitions. One is the accidental melting of the core of a nuclear reactor. That's not what we want. This is what we want: a rapid, disastrous decline or collapse. So people are about to go into meltdown stages because there's a lot of people right now that are in a desperate state of mind. It says a breakdown of self-control. So the main one we want is a rapid or disastrous decline or collapse. And when they go back, if they go back into this straight up lockdown again, this time it's going to be worse. People are going to lose it. Like Gerald Salente said, when people have nothing to lose, they lose it. You know, and there's nothing else left to lose, they lose it. So in 2 Ezra 9:1, it says, he answered me then and said, measure thou the time diligently in itself. To measure something means to weigh it out. Now, how do we measure the times? By weighing out the prophecies that are playing out on the planet concerning what the scriptures have foretold thousands of years ago. And as we look on the earth today, we see a lot of things happening that are written right on the pages of the scriptures. It says, and when thou seest, meaning when you're witnessing part of the signs past, meaning the things that are written, when you start seeing these things happening, as it tells us in Habakkuk, the 2nd chapter, which I have told thee before, because the Lord told us about these things before they happen, so that Jake can't jump up and give credit to their fake gods or idols, you know, or man. It says, then shalt thou understand that it is the very same time wherein the highest will begin to visit the world which he made. So how is the Lord visiting the world which he made? Let's go real quick to the book of Isaiah 28:2. Behold, the Lord hath a mighty and strong one, which as a tempest of hail and destroying storm, as a flood of mighty waters overflowing, shall cast down to the earth with the hand. So you have different storms, tornadoes, different things of that nature. That's part of the Lord visiting the earth. Isaiah 29:6, thou shalt be visited of the Lord of hosts, with thunder and with earthquake and great noise, with storm and tempest and flame of devouring fire. So all of these things that you see going on is all a part of the Lord visiting the earth. Other things that the Lord is visiting the earth with is these different protests and riots and different things that break out, although some of them at the grassroots edge of it is controlled opposition. Nevertheless, it's still the Lord working on the left-hand side. So going back to 2 Ezra 9:3, therefore when there shall be seen earthquakes and uproars of the people in the world, which we're witnessing today, and it's going to get worse, it says, then shalt thou well understand. See, this is why it's important to pay attention to what's going on in the world today as far as the prophecies are concerned. It said, then shalt thou well understand, not just understand, but well understand, that the Most High spake of those things before the days that were before thee. Because the prophets go back to what? The prophets go all the way back to the beginning of time. They've been prophesying since the beginning of time. It says, even from the beginning, see? Because the prophets go all the way back to the beginning. There's always been prophets. As long as this world existed, there have always been prophets prophesying about some major disaster or some major thing happening. All right. And it's no different today. The prophets are here today giving you the same warning of things that are coming. And if you are a person of the elect, you will give heed. You will find out what it is that you have to do to be delivered, and you'll do that thing to the best of your ability. It says, for like as all that is made in the world hath a beginning and an end, and the end is manifest. Yeah, because everything has a beginning. And what do the scriptures say? It says, better is the ending of a thing than the beginning. So all that is in the world has a beginning and an end, and the end is manifest. So how is the end being manifested now? By these different signs that we're witnessing in the earth. You know, and the lockdowns, that's a part of the signs of the things that the Lord said would happen. And the next precept we're going to get is going to exemplify that even more. So I had to throw a little $50 word out there. Yeah, the brother putting up some beautiful precepts. Let me get a couple of these Jeremiah 28:8. It says, the prophets that have been before me and before thee of old prophesied both against many countries and against great kingdoms of war and of evil and of pestilence. Yeah, because that's the times that we're in. We're not in a time of peace. That's why it says in 1 Thessalonians, the 5th chapter, that when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them. Next precept, Isaiah 42:9. Behold, the former things are come to pass, and new things are declared. Before they spring forth, I tell you of them. Because the Lord, at the end of the whole thing, he wants the credit for everything, because he is the creator of it all. Yahweh. B'Hashem Yahweh Shai, Luke 1:70. As he spake by the mouth of his holy prophets, which have been since the world began. Next precept, Hosea 12:10. I have also spoken by the prophets, and I have multiplied visions and used similitudes. So these are the signs and the tokens that we are to look for, to know that Yahweh Shai's kingdom is about to be ushered in by the ministry of the prophets. That's a beautiful one right there. All right, so let me get back here. Let's read this again. For 2 Ezra 9:5. For like as all that is in the that is made in the world hath a beginning and an end, and the end is manifest. Excuse me, Salaki for that. Even so, the times also of the highest have plain beginnings in wonder and powerful works, and ending in effects and signs. And this is what we're seeing happening around the world today. This is why you see these devils so busy, because the Lord got a spirit on these devils to move lightning fast, because the end is quickly approaching. And the Lord does not stir or move anything until the set measure be fulfilled. You know? And this is why he's cracking a whip on these devils, to make them do what they're doing. See, they're demonic robots of, on the left hand side, energy for the Most High. So he gotta make them make the move so that the Lord can come and checkmate them, so to speak. All right. So now let's go from there to the next precept. 2 Ezra 15. I started one. I read a couple of verses, then close the lesson out, because I got to get ready for camp. 2 Ezra 15:1. Behold, speak thou in the ears of my people the words of prophecy. And this is the main thing we're supposed to be speaking about. Prophecy. The scriptures say that Yahweh, the testimony of Yahweh Shai is the spirit of prophecy. There's a reason why the disciples asked him, you know, when shall be the sign of his coming and of the end of the world? Meaning the end of the age, or the end of these rulerships of these nations that were supposed to rule. You know, and then Yahweh Shai started breaking down to him and telling him certain things that would be taking place on the earth prior to him coming. Now, as I say from time to time through the Spirit, you know, you've always had wars, you've always had famines, you've always had pestilences, you've always had, you know, storms and cyclones and earthquakes and different other things, but never on the scale that it is today. You know, everything, the prophecies are coming in bunches. You know, it's not like something will happen and then, you know, 10 years later or 20 years later or 100 years later, something else will happen major. Now a lot of things are happening around the world, not just weather-wise, but financial-wise, military-wise, you know, social-wise. You know, the technology that we're witnessing today is at an all-time high. You know, there are, you know, famines going on. There's many different things happening in a plethora. Another $50 words for y'all. In a plethora, you know, it's just innumerable. There's so much stuff going on that it's hard to keep up with everything, you know. So it's impossible for one man to keep up with every single thing that's going on. That's why we're a body and brothers work together. It says, behold, speak down the ears of my people the words of prophecy, which I will put in thy mouth, saith the Lord. So we're supposed to speak the things of the Lord, not things that come out of our own mind. you know, not doing what we want to do, you know, doing what the Lord said to do. It says, and cause them to be written in paper, for they are faithful and true. And when they're written in paper, when there is this evidence, what it is a witness against the world as to, look, it was already written. I already sent my men. This is what the Lord's saying. I already sent my men out there. They already warned you. You didn't take heed. I gave you different examples in history. This is the Lord speaking. You know, I gave you the example of the flood, that would happen. The people didn't listen. They got caught up in that. I gave you the example of Sodom and Gomorrah, what they were doing for that freakism, what happened to them. They didn't repent. They got burnt up. You didn't listen. So on and so forth, all the way up until today. And we're coming to the point now of the lake of fire about to be unleashed on the earth as the final judgment, along with so-called World War III, which the Bible calls Armageddon, or the Valley of Jehoshaphat. It says, fear not the imagination against thee, let not the incredulity of them trouble thee that speak against it. Yeah, just because somebody doesn't believe it doesn't mean that the Most High is not going to achieve it. Let's go to Romans chapter 3. Salakia. Romans chapter 3 and verse 3. For what if some did not believe? Because you have a lot of people out there that are non-believers. They're unbelievers. And just because they don't believe it doesn't affect what the Lord is doing. Shall their unbelief make the faith of the Most High without effect? So will they stop the Heavenly Father's plans for, oh, you know, these people don't believe. Oh, well, you know what? I got to go back to the drawing board and I'll figure out something else that they will believe. No. It says the Most High forbid. Yea, let the Most High be true, but every man a liar. Because eventually the Lord is going, his plans are moving forward. That's why he says, let the wicked man forsake his thoughts. That's why it says your thoughts are not my thoughts. That's why it's important for us to, you know, like brothers always been saying, we've said this many times, we have to set emotion aside and deal with the logic and the principles of the scriptures, because we all have our emotional ways about us. But at the end of the day, this is not about emotion. This is about the Most High's plans, his program, what he wants to do, what he wants to put into effect. All right. It says, as it is written, that thou mightest be justified in thy sayings and mightest overcome when thou art judged. Yeah, because scriptures say he that if you have the oracles of the Most High, you're supposed to speak the oracles of the Most High. Because at the end of the day, that is where the justification comes from the Lord and not from us. All right. So going back to 2 Ezra 15 and 3, it says, for all the unfaithful shall die in their unfaithfulness. They're going to have their meeting with judgment eventually. It says, behold, saith the Lord, I will bring plagues upon the world. And we're witnessing these plagues coming upon the earth. The ultimate plague is going to be the missiles, nuclear missiles, plus the fire from the lasers from the chariots. But there are other plagues on the planet that are happening. It says the sword, famine, death, and destruction. These are all parts of the plague. But the ultimate plague will be what? The nuclear missiles, which when you read the 16th chapter, that pretty much goes into the beginning parts of it, especially go into the great plague that's coming, which is or are those missiles. It says, for wickedness has exceedingly polluted the whole world. And this brings to mind what? Genesis, the 6th chapter, where the Lord spoke to Noah. And the Lord was pretty much, well, before he spoke to Noah, he was pretty much saying that he saw the wickedness of man, that it was great upon earth. And they repented the Lord that he created it. So he pretty much was about to destroy the earth by the flood. So he put into the spirit of a righteous man by the name of Noah, or Nawach, which means comfort, or Nawach means comfort, to inspire him to build an ark. He gave him the dimensions. He gave him the type of wood to use. He told him how to build it. He told him what to put in it. And it was only him, his wife, his 3 sons, and their 3 wives that were delivered from this great flood that engulfed the whole planet and killed every living thing that was on the dry land, that was in the airs. The only thing that wasn't killed were whatever was in the waters. All the different sea life. They weren't killed because they were, in the water. And this is why the Lord didn't say, well, make sure that you get 2 catfish, male and female. Make sure you get 2 octopuses. Make sure you get 14 red snappers, 14 rainbow trout, because the waters preserve those fish. And we're in a time now where the world is wicked and it's about to be destroyed, and the Lord is building a spiritual ark. And the spiritual ark will be fulfilled when the elect are beamed up into the chariots and enter into that spiritual ark, which is the chariot. Isaiah 26:20. Come, my people, enter thou into thy chambers. What are the chambers? This is dealing with the chariots. And many brothers have been having visions and dreams, of chariots. Many brothers have been seeing chariots. We've been seeing chariots all over the place, because we're in the time when the Lord is making his presence known to the world, that he's about to come and deliver his people. And the message that we're out there teaching is the downfall of America, Babylon the Great, by the words of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. And pretty much in a roundabout way, what we're saying to Esau is that the Lord is saying, let my people go. Yeah, that's a good one, Elder Manatazakba put up. Hebrews 11:7. By faith, Noah, being warned of the Most High of things not seen as yet, moved with fear. And that's the key. Move with fear. Prepared an ark to the saving of his house, by the which he condemned the world. It says, and became heir of the righteousness which is by faith. And there's one in 2 Peter, the 2nd chapter, where it speaks about him being one of 8 souls that was delivered. So it says, come, my people, enter down to thy chambers, which are the chariots, and shut thy doors about thee. Yeah, because the Lord shut the door. When Noah and his 3 sons and their 4 wives entered into that ark, the Lord sealed the door so no one else can come in. Hide thyself, as it were, for a little moment until the indignation be overpassed. Why? Because the indignation is what? The righteous anger of the Lord, that he's going to pour upon Esau. He's going to pour upon the nations. He's going to pour upon their armies. He's going to pour upon the disobedient of the nation of Israel. He's going to get loose, man. He's going to let loose. In the Lord's hand, there's a cup. And there's wine in that cup. And he's going to pour it out without mixture. And he said, the dregs thereof, the wicked of the earth, are going to drink it. So let's go back. 2 Ezra 15:6. For wickedness has exceedingly polluted the whole earth. And you see that. You see the earth is polluted. The mindset of the people is polluted. The earth itself is polluted. The food, the air, the water. This is why everyone's sick. Even people that are healthy, that work out, even they have problems because of the quality of the air, because of the quality of the water, because of the quality of the food. Even the organic food is tainted. You thinking, I'm doing good because I'm eating organic. Yeah, but even that's tainted. Even that has pesticides. The wind blows, and some of those Roundup and different other pesticides are blowing into the organic stuff. And even organic stuff, they use pesticides. So don't think just because you're eating organic, that you're eating. I mean, it's a little healthier, yeah, but it's still tainted. We shall eat our bread defiled among the Gentiles. All right, up. Yep, the brother put it up. Here we go. 2 Peter 2, 5, and 6. And spared not the old world, but saved Noah, the eighth person, a preacher of righteousness, bringing in the flood upon the world of the ungodly, and turning the cities of Sodom and Gomorrah into ashes, condemned them with an overthrow, making them what? An ensample unto those that after should live ungodly. So there's no excuse, man. These devils have, the scriptures. They have the archaeological evidence and proof. They make movies about Sodom and Gomorrah and about the flood and about all these different things. So there's no excuse. So it says, for wickedness has exceedingly polluted the whole earth. And that's the key. Esau today has the whole earth. It says, and their hurtful works are fulfilled. So now when something is fulfilled, it means what? It's finished. So now it's time to move into the next phase, which is the Lord bringing forth his judgment. Therefore, saith the Lord, I will hold my tongue no more as touching their wickedness, which they profanely commit. It says, neither will I suffer them in those things in which they wickedly exercise themselves. Behold, the innocent and righteous blood crieth unto me, and the souls of the just complain continually. And we're crying to the Lord, man. We're sighing and crying, man, for the Lord to hurry up and take this devil down. It says, and therefore saith the Lord, I will surely avenge them and receive unto me all the innocent blood from among them. Behold, my people is led as a flock to the slaughter. I will not suffer them now to dwell in the land of Egypt, which is dealing with America, modern day Egypt, spiritually Egypt and Sodom. But I will bring them with a mighty hand and a stretched out arm, which is what? The chariot. And smite Egypt with plagues as before, and will destroy all the land thereof. The land of Egypt, the actual land of Egypt, has never been destroyed. And the Lord is not going to destroy that place. This Egypt is talking about America. And he's going to destroy the whole land. And they will never be inhabited ever again. This is another code name for America, Egypt. Egypt shall mourn, and the foundations of it shall be smitten with the plague and punishment that the Most High shall bring upon it. Which is what? Those missiles, those chariots. They that till the ground shall mourn, for their seed shall fail through the blasting and hail, and a fearful constellation. Yeah, because even now as we speak, there's a lot of backed up material and goods that have not been sent around the world because of that so-called plugging up of the Suez Canal. And this is why it's important to pay attention to detail. Because in all honesty, when I heard the ship getting stuck, I was thinking that it was in the Panama Canal. I don't know how I got that mixed up, but I was always thinking the Panama Canal. And then I'm hearing the Suez Canal. I said, wait a minute, that's over there, above the Red Sea. So so then it dawned on me, you had it wrong. But this is why it's important to pay attention to detail. So that's pretty much causing price hikes. It's causing shortages. And you know how these people are. They already went through a whole year of this shit. So now it's possible that they're going to go out again and panic buy, which means that you're not going to be able to get certain things. You can't even buy Lysol spray anymore. You couldn't, at one time, you couldn't even buy alcohol or hydrogen peroxide. And what happened was these places stored them up, hiked the price up. A bottle that might have cost $1, they selling it to you for now for $4, $5. Some places, these goddamn Ishmaelites, $10, $15 for a little bottle of alcohol. Them fucking bastards. Excuse my Swahili, But now you go to different places like Target or whatever you go to, and they have a whole bunch of bottles of alcohol now marked down. But they used to be $1, but they went from $3, $4 back to like $1.39, and now there's no limit because they got an overflow of it. But now that this whole shit is happening, it could happen to where the people are going to panic buy again. So these devils playing games, with these people. It says, woe to the world and them that dwell therein, for the sword and their destruction draweth nigh, is drawing near. And one people shall stand up to fight against another, and swords in their hands. And why is this going to happen? Because there's going to be a lack of bread. There's going to be, when people are in a desperate state, that whole neighborly, spirit goes out the window. It's all about survival of the fittest. It's all about, taking care of your own. That's why scripture say, because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold. That neighborly, we cook some extra, barbecue or whatever. Would you like some? We got some extra cake, or we got, so on and so forth. That's going to go out the window, because they're going to try to keep and hoard whatever they have. And if they don't have anything, they're going to go and take other people's stuff. Yeah, this is a good scripture here. And suddenly shall the sown places appear unsown. The full storehouses shall suddenly be found empty. That's right. They're going to be found empty, because these they only have so much supply each day that they can put out. So it says, for there shall be sedition among men, and they're going to rise up against the government. They're going to rise up against each other and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes yet, because they're going to get tired of these so-called politicians that govern them and give them empty promises and never come through. Because whenever they get elected into office, all those promises they made, they don't keep. It says, and the course of their action shall stand in their power. And this is why there's going to be these insurrections and these different uproars of the people. Just based off of these different lockdowns and restrictions that are happening. A lot of people are still unemployed. And what's happening is that when they give you the unemployment stats, the unemployment stats are only current. They don't count anymore people that stop looking for work. So they're not counting the people that are out of work. So the unemployment could be 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times more than what they're projecting out there. But they don't count people that have just gave up on looking for jobs. It says, a man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able. Why? Because of lockdowns. Lockdowns. Operation Lockdown. It says, for because of their pride, the city shall be troubled. The houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. Why? Because there's not going to be, society is going to break down. You got to understand that, especially here in America, these people are not used to adversity. These people are used to everything being catered to them, having cushy jobs. And even if they have hard working jobs, they got good pay, so they have everything at their beck and call, instant everything. And what's that going to cause? It's going to cause a panic when they don't have it, because they're used to getting the food now. I want it now. God damn it. And if they don't, they're going to jump through the window, and get their food, or flip out on people and kill each other, because, the way that these devils set up Babylon the Great is to where people don't have any patience anymore, any discipline anymore, And the up and coming elder Karatas from Vegas put, discouraged workers are never counted. That's right. So it goes on to say, a man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword. They're going to be rummaging. You see these futuristic movies, how they're going through houses, and pillaging the houses and seeing what they can find in there to use. And even in the movie The Book of Eli, when Solara asked Denzel, she said, what was the old world like? He said, things that people fight for today, they will just throw away back then. See? So it says, and spoil their goods because of the lack of bread and for great tribulation. And this is part of the tribulation that's coming. The ultimate hour of temptation is the microchip, but there's going to be a lot of tribulation that's going to happen. Jacob's trouble. Great insurrection upon those that fear the Lord. It says, behold, this is going into something else. So let me finish out with the next chapter, 16 and 68. Let me read a couple of verses here. For behold, the burning wrath of a great multitude is kindled over you. That's their different military, the militarized police, FEMA troops, and all different other types of troops. And they shall take away certain of you and feed you, being idle with things offered unto idols. You know, and don't say, well, it can't happen here in America. It already did. You know, look at during the time of World War II. The Japanese were put into internment camps. And those internment camps are still around. You know, they have internment camps all over the place. All over the U.S. And they that consent unto them shall be had in derision and in reproach and trodden under foot. For there shall be in every place and in the next cities a great insurrection upon those that fear the Lord. So what is that? The time of Jacob's trouble, which ISUPK calls gay. And the IUIC, Nate, said it wasn't going to happen. Now he's doing the backslide, you know, and saying, if you listen to what I said, moron, I said the time of Jacob's trouble isn't yet. Goddamn liar, man. That dude is a straight up bald-faced liar. You know, they shall be like madmen, sparing none, because they're going to have the fury of the Lord upon them. You have to understand that. When you see these devils do what they do, they have the fury of the Lord upon them. The Lord has a special, extra special, crispy, demonic spirit on these devils to do what they're doing, because it's the indignation of the Lord being brought upon the earth as a form of judgment, or as a judgment, not a form, as a judgment. It says, but still spoiling and destroying those that fear the Lord, because the main problem is, or are, the people of the Most High, the Israelites. And this is why even in this, when you look up the green agenda, I didn't really go too deep into it, but from the little bit that I read is dealing with the so-called caring for the poor, you know, in rural areas, you know, the poor of the cities and all of that crap. And who are they mainly targeting? Well, we're going to put in front of the line the Negroes, Latinos, and Native American Indians, because we care about you so much. Yeah, right. You know. So pretty much, you know, you see what's going on. Those of you that have your lanterns on that are watching what's happening. It says, for they shall waste and take away their goods and cast them out of their houses. Then shall they be known who are my chosen, and they shall be tried as gold in the fire. It says, hear, O ye my beloved, saith the Lord, behold, the days of trouble are at hand, but I will deliver you from the same. Be ye not afraid, neither doubt, for your power is your guide. So the Lord is going to guide us through this. It says, when the enemy shall come in like a flood, the Spirit of the Lord shall lift up a standard against them. So pretty much, you know, that's the point. You know, with that, I pray that you brothers have been edified. Until the next time I say, Shalom.